Hey everyone, it's Chris Ronzio. So one of the most frequent questions I get asked by new startup businesses, new entrepreneurs is, when do I know that I'm ready to hire someone? Whether it's your first employee, maybe an intern, maybe a family member, maybe a virtual employee, a contractor, whatever it is, when do you know that it's the right time to take on that person? Okay, so I shot a separate video about when you can actually afford it. There's a specific formula of when you can afford that. Check that video out. But when you know it's the right time is when you're over capacity on tasks that are undervalued. So let's say you start your business and you've got some kind of craft that you're awesome at. Maybe it's web design. Maybe it's doing massages. Maybe it was like my first business, which was video editing. When I was video editing, I was getting $50 an hour. And if someone told me they would fill up my full-time schedule of $50 an hour video editing, I would have been so pumped and couldn't even believe that that was a possibility. So that's the mindset you have when you're first getting started, is what is my hourly rate? And how do I fill up 40 hours a week or 50 or 60 hours a week with doing that thing? That's what you think when you start. But then the busier you get, you bring on more and more customers, and the little things start to creep in. Like, I've got to take mail down to the mailbox to pay bills, or go to the post office. I've got to do sales calls with people that are not paying me yet, but they might pay me in the future. I've got to answer emails or answer phones or voicemails that people leave. I've got to do prepare my taxes for my CPA. You know, there's all these little things that start to work into your life that take up time. And so what happens is that thing that you do, that craft, the massages you give, or the editing time, or the websites you design, that time gets cut into. So you don't have 40 or 50 hours a week to do that thing. You maybe only have 20 or 30 hours a week because the rest of the business starts to take up time. So let's say you're at 100% capacity and your week is just filled. You can't possibly fit in another hour of stuff. So when you're wanting to hire someone, you want to take your capacity down to maybe 60%. So you want someone else to come in and scoop up all of the lower value things, the things that don't require your expertise to do, so that you can get back to doing the thing you do well. It's why lawyers have paralegals and legal assistants. It's why doctors have nurses and you know, medical other practitioners in the office. Because when something that you do is so valuable, you want to do it the most that you can. You want to build the most number of hours that you can. So when is the right time to hire someone? It's when your capacity is at 100%. And you need to free yourself up from 100% to something like 60%. Now, what do you do when you get there? You bring on that first person, they take on a bunch of those administrative tasks. Now what do? Well, let's say you're at 60% capacity. You're going to work your way back up to 100% capacity before you need to break that next cycle and bring in that next person. But what you want to do is be a little pickier with the work that you're bringing in. You don't want to just take every job, you want to take the best jobs. You get to be able to be picky because now you're not just scrounging for every dollar available. You can also raise your rate. This is something that maybe if you're charging $20 an hour, now for the next block of clients, you're going to charge 30, or if you were charging 30, you're going to charge 50, or if you were previously at 50, maybe now you're at 75 or 100. That's what I did with my first consulting company. I started at 50, then it was 75, then it was 90, then it was 100, and you slowly work up your rate as you fill your schedule. So hiring people is a way to take the pressure off yourself. It clears the pressure, it releases the valve so that it brings your capacity down to something that's more manageable, so you can say, okay, let me take a deep breath, and where do I go from here? So how do I fill my capacity again? That's when you bring someone on to help you.